Gurave Namaha. Namahum Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. So we are continuing after Dhruva Maharaj's return to the kingdom. And now Uttanapada is getting ready to go and see Dhruva. After bathing and dressing in his finest regalia, Uttanapad mounted a chariot drawn by tall black steeds and bedecked with golden filigree. Accompanied by many learned Brahmins, all the elderly members of his family, his officers and ministers, and his immediate friends, he proceeded toward the outskirts of his kingdom. Auspicious sounds of conch shells, kettle drums, and flutes reverberated loudly along with the chanting of Vedic mantras that augured good fortune. The king sent a palanquin to bring Queen Suniti. She wept with joy on hearing the news and ran to invite Suruchi to accompany her. Suruchi shied away. Since Dhruva's departure, she had lost all favor with the king. Only Suniti was allowed to join him in the shrine room. Wringing her hands, she said, "I doubt Dhruva will want to see me." Suniti smiled. "Do not think like that, my dear sister. You too are his mother." Suniti looked down at Uttama, who held on to his mother's sari. "And you are his beloved brother. Both of you must come. Dhruva will be eager to see you. The palanquin is big enough for all three of us." We'll pause there. See the difference between Suruchi and Suniti. That shows when we are in power, when we're given a little bit power, the mood that we are in, it represents our real character. Because when we don't have power, it's easy for us to be a little humble. But when we are in the position of having some sort of authority or some sort of favor, like now the tables have turned, the fortune wheel has spiraled, and now Suniti is in a position of being in a favor of the king, and Suruchi is the one who is the problem and the one who is being neglected. And now Suniti's mood is very different than Suruchi. Suniti has a character which is very loving, compassionate, accepting, and no wonder, right? Dhruva Maharaj got it from his mother too, to have the similar mentality, that he immediately felt bad when he heard what's going to happen to Suruchi. So this is a very good way when we are in difficulty, or when we are in, like sometimes when we have a little power and people don't listen to us, or people don't treat us nicely, when we have a power to punish them, how we use that power. Do we misuse that power? Do we do it for the ego's sake? Or do we really do it for the protection of others? This shows our actual character. And one may say, come on, in this time and age, everybody is selfish. Everybody's trying to be like Suruchi only. When you are in power, you take advantage of that and you do what you need to do to protect your own position. But then when we try to do that, what happens is Hiranyakashipu's situation will happen. No amount of respect will be enough. We want more and more people to be under us. Do you have a question? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. To go to the forest and take shelter of Vishnu. And he did it. And that's why, sometimes when somebody, anybody, elderly person, seniors, when they tell us something, if they are qualified, it has power, it has Shakti. So Suniti has her character behind her words. Yeah. So I was saying that even if we do act like everybody else, we will struggle. See, this mentality itself is a blessing. It's not that what will Suniti get by being inclusive of Suruchi. She was so neglected in the past, we may say. But this itself is so glorious that she doesn't have any regret or anger or revenge or anything regarding Suruchi. That itself is a blessing. To be having a peaceful mind itself is a great blessing. When we don't have a peaceful mind, Suruchi did not have a peaceful mind. She could be happy and say, hey, Dhruva, come here. Oh, yeah, you also sit on your father's lap. She could have been peaceful, but no, she didn't want peace. So now she doesn't have peace. So whatever we choose, we will have it. And so sometimes we wonder, what will I get by behaving nice? Well, by behaving nice, you will be peaceful now, you will be peaceful later also. I mean, it may not, it's sattva guna a little bit in the beginning, and we may feel hurtful, but if we don't react, later on we're going to find peace. But if we act in rajoguna and just blurt out whatever comes to our mind, later on we will feel miserable. So this balance, the art of balance, we can learn from Suniti. She had a very Krishna conscious mind, she had a good mind, she had a forgiving mind, she had a compassionate mindset. We can also pray for that. We can also work toward that. We're not saying we shouldn't. I mean, imagine, how much Suniti must have gone through. It seems like Suniti is stronger than Uttanapad. Of course, because Suniti did all the right things and she has more faith that Vishnu will protect him. She is not as surprised as Uttanapad. Uttanapad went into depression and he went into isolation and he went into a sort of, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen to Dhruva. I don't know if he'll come back home. Maybe the jungle's animals will eat him alive. He was scared. He was very, very scared. But Suniti doesn't seem to have been scared at all. She's very strong. That's the power of a devotee. Peaceful means power, strength. When we find peace, we find strength, we find power. Being peaceful is very powerful. People who are very, very, really, truly powerful are very peaceful people. Those who are always jumping up and down and reacting, they may act within. So here, Suniti, that's power. And that's why when Dhruva went back to Godhead in the chariot, he waited for Suniti also. He looked back, she looked back. He wanted to make sure she's also in the airplane to the Goloka Vrindavan, to Dhruva Loka specifically. Okay. Somebody likes to take over from here, the royal procession.
The royal procession, Mariji, can you remove this color?
Yeah.
Completely owned through the crowded streets to the city's boundary. There, Uttanapad sighted his son walking on the outskirts of a grove. He vaulted from his chariot. It was a miracle. The boy was back. Uttanapad had resigned himself to dying of grief. But his child had survived waves. Next page, Madhuri. Waves of affection surged through his heart as he raced towards his son. When he caught up to Dhruva, the king was gasping for breath, but he swept Dhruva up in both arms, embracing him tightly. One Brahmin in the reception party remarked to another, "The prince has changed. There seems to be a scared aura emanating from him." His friends replied, "It is to be expected. I have heard that he was touched by Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. Tears welled in the onlookers' eyes as they watched Uttanapad smell Dhruva's head again and again. He seemed to be bathing the small prince with torrent of tears. They knew that the king had been dreaming of this moment for the past 6 months. When Uttanapad finally released Dhruva from his embrace, the boy offered his obeisances and uh, the boy offered his obeisances and touched his father's feet. Uttanapad raised both his palms in blessings. May there be all good fortune for you, my dear son. Dhruva then bowed down at the Surichi's feet. She immediately lifted him up and with tears in her eyes said in a choked voice, my dear boy, long may you live. The Prime Minister whispered in the ears of the chief coach Brahmin. She was never like him. How is it that she is so loving towards him now? The chief Brahmin said, when someone is blessed by Vishnu, he develops all transcendental qualities. Everyone becomes automatically inclined to honor him. It is as natural as water flowing downwards.
Okay, let's pause there. See, this is such a relevant point. When someone is blessed by Vishnu, he develops all transcendental qualities. So we don't have to separately sit down and develop qualities of whatever, different qualities. Once we truly surrender to Krishna, we become really devotees of Krishna in that attitude, then Krishna himself will give us all those qualities. So we don't need to separately endeavor for developing qualities. Because true surrender, within the true surrender, there's everything, all good fortune. But without true surrender, individually, oh, I am this, I can do that, I am very patient, I am very determined. All the separate qualities can only make us separate from Krishna. But when we are focused on Krishna, then it's a different dynamics.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, here the last line it is written, right? When he becomes devotee of the Lord, everyone becomes automatically like inclined to give him honor. Like sometimes we see in terms of devotees, right? That when some people become devotee, but we don't see that after they become devotee, their parents or relatives become like inclined to give them honor and all. No? It's just like here Surusi gave Dhruva and like blessings and all, but we don't see these things happens with sometimes devotees, right? Their parents still remain animical to the kid or like towards they have that what is it called anger towards the kid. So how to understand at the time they are also becoming devotee, they are also getting the blessings of the Lord, but the parents or the relatives are not becoming inclined to give him any honor or accept him in that way. So how to understand the situation?
Yeah, I mean, there are three categories. One category is Uttanapad, who is a devotee. He immediately was able to accept Dhruva and appreciate, and it was very quick. The other categories, the other extreme Hiranyakashipus, who will never, ever, right? It's not that Prahlad Maharaj is not enough. It's just that Hiranyakashipu it's never going to be enough for a person like that. And then the third category are people who are in the middle. They're not devotees, they're not demons, they're like stuck. I'm thinking of my Guru Maharaj's father. He was very disappointed when my Guru Maharaj joined Hare Krishna movement because he had a lot of hopes for him to become something in this world. Then when he was about to die, this is in the deathbed, okay, in the hospital, in the deathbed, when my Guru Maharaj went to visit him, it was the first time after he had joined, Guru Maharaj had joined, years and 60 years ago. Then first time he said, I'm actually proud of what you are and what you have become. And he actually said that you're the only one who, I think, yeah, this was the exact statement. You're the only one that you've done something with your life. He didn't say I'm proud, but he meant I'm proud, because he said among the children, you're the only one who has done something with your life. So which was a huge transformation and a huge validation, or whatever you call it, for my Guru Maharaj, because all life he went through by choosing Krishna consciousness. He had to sacrifice his father, and the father never accepted the Hare Krishna thing. Mother was very favorable. Mother used to come help, and she did a lot of service, etc. But the father, till the very end, he had not seen the light. But then he could actually somewhat, he didn't say full positive, right? He just said, well, at least you've done something in your life, Even like he was like, the others didn't do even that, and nothing they did with their life. So the point is, there are people in the middle who maybe at the time of death, sometime, or maybe internally, they may not say because they may have a big ego. They may have a sense of, no, I don't want to accept that my son did the right thing. I don't want to accept my daughter did the right thing. They will never say it, but deep inside, there will be a part of them that knows that this person did something with their life. Another instance also happened. The point I'm trying to say in principle is that only Krishna can change things. It's not our behavior. It's not me trying to accomplish something to try to prove to my parents or my relatives that I'm worthy or I'm accepted, or the parents' change of heart is not dependent on me. It's dependent on the mercy of the Lord on that individual, first of all. Secondly, if I'm waiting around that tables will turn for me, they will maybe realize, they will maybe accept us, they'll appreciate us. That's mundane desire. One more instance I would like to share, which was like amazing for me. I have a cousin who is like, very, very successful in the corporate world, etc., and everything. And they all kind of considered me a loser because I joined the Hare Krishna movement. They thought that I didn't do what they did. All my cousins are settled in America and very high positions and earning a lot of money, and that was the path that all my uncles tried very hard to get me onto. But then I married a monk, and then I switched my lanes, and nobody accepted me. I mean, recently they're changing, but I'm just saying they never thought that I did anything useful with my life. They just thought I wasted my life. And this particular cousin, we grew up together. We were playing together. We just have 1 year difference, so we were very, very, very close. Then at one point when I married and chose Krishna consciousness, they literally rejected me, right? It's been more than 22 years that my aunt, my cousin's mother, was like a mother for me, more than my mother she was for me. She hasn't spoken to me for 22 years now. And this cousin of mine, he and I were very, very close in childhood. He very like disgusted with me, who is that? What she did with her life, like that. Then one day, suddenly I get an email from him. And then this is what he writes. I walked into my boss's office this morning, and I was about to give my report to the boss. And the boss was busy listening to some lecture, like some talk. And he said, not now, go away. I'm very busy right now. I'm listening to something from Mayapur. And my cousin was like, oh, Mayapur, that's interesting. And he said, I have a cousin living in Mayapur. And then this boss is like, oh, okay. And what's her name? And my cousin said, oh, her name is Sri Lakshmi. And then the boss is like, oh, okay, whatever, fine. Because this person I'm listening to is somebody I listen regularly, and is so good because he speaks my mother tongue, Kannada. The boss is Kannada person. And then he went on speaking about the speaker that he likes. And then my cousin is like, but that looks like my cousin, because that's what she does. She gives classes and she sings the Vaishnava Acharya songs and all. And then he said, no, but just now you said your cousin's name is something else, but this person's name is Shri Radha Govinda. And then my cousin is like, oh, actually, that's my cousin's spiritual name. And then he said, can I see the can I see the person who you're watching? And this boss is like super strict and never pleased with anybody. You know, my cousin is writing all these things in the email. And then he goes and looks, and actually it's me. And then he says, this is my cousin. And he's trying to convince him they have spiritual name, and they have, I know she grew up as Sri Lakshmi, but now she's Sri Radha Govinda. It's my cousin only. And this boss is like, no, that's not possible. And then he finally, it was like, this person is, and he'd started glorifying my life and whatever. And then my cousin writes to me this sentence. He says, Lakshmi, I never admired your life decisions. I never thought that you're doing anything useful with your life. But I must tell you, if you have impressed this boss of mine who is on such a high material position, we are all always, night and day, we are trying to please him. And if he is impressed with you, you must be doing something great with your life. And I must accept that, you know. And I was just thinking, that would never, ever happen if it was not for Krishna's arrangement, because I wasn't living my life to try to get acceptance from them. I was like, these people are gone from my life. They will never accept me. I don't need them. I have my Guru Maharaj. My family is different. But then when he wrote that to me, and then he was like, actually, that day I got my report was successful because of you. And he was, you know, attributing his promotion for that instance of this. And then he said, whatever it is you're doing with your life, he doesn't get it, what I'm doing with my life. But he said, it must be something great, because we all strive so hard to get a very good work by our boss. So if this boss is impressed with you, you must be doing something great. He's like this biggest officer in Intel guy, you know, and all these Indian people, they are gone from here to America and they work under this thing. And this person is not Hare Krishna devotee, but somehow he found lectures of me, and then he became devotee. And he's somehow Krishna used this boss as an instrument to teach something to my cousin, that, hey, don't think that becoming a Hare Krishna is useless. So the point is, Krishna has his own purposes to achieve, and we are nothing. We are just nimitta matram. We're just instruments. It was between Krishna and my cousin. He was never spiritual from the beginning. So maybe there was some element of curiosity in his mind that, what is this Krishna consciousness? If this boss, we are all trying day and night to please, is impressed, what this Krishna consciousness is. Next time somebody stops him on the street, gives him a book, or he sees a Harinam party, his samskara has changed. I couldn't change it. My decisions made them disgusted about me. But somehow this boss who came along 25 years later changed his mind about the fact that the Hare Krishna people are substance. They are something valuable. They're doing something great in their life. That, you know, the boss cares about that the most. He cared about that philosophy. He cared about that element of Krishna's knowledge more than his success in this world. And you know, I kind of call it, we were always competing in childhood, me and my cousin, with everything, running and studies and sports and everything. There was always competition. Who's going to win? So now I was just thinking, my husband told me, you see, you won the race even without competing. So, you know, my cousin felt like, oh, my boss favors my cousin. I didn't even enter the scenario of corporate world, you know. So the point is, Krishna wins always. If we take the side of Krishna, either at the time of death, either at later, 6 months later, like Uttanapad, or of course Hiranyakashipus are always there, that Krishna doesn't want those people to change their mind. But the point is Krishna's will. The point is Krishna's plan. We are just pawns and instruments. But this instance remained in my ears, eyes and heart about my own life. You know, oh, Krishna can do something miraculous. This was miracle for me, because my family are very difficult. They are very proud and very, very difficult to accept. And then Krishna had his way into their hearts also. Like that, we just humbly wait and play along the will of the Lord. Okay, is that something useful?
Yeah, that is inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, I must say that the truth, before, right? For many, many years. I did try to connect with my cousin and my aunt, and they wouldn't reply. And they used to harass me to remove any pictures on social media which had them in it. They were very, very difficult and insulting and all this and all this. But I was struggling very hard to try to prove to them to make me feel included for many years. Then, when I completely gave up, then I just took shelter of Krishna. I just said, this is my life now. That's it. Then I'm just thinking one quality that I acquired was detachment. I didn't care anymore what they thought. And when this incident happened, I actually thought, oh, good for him. He has some appreciation for Hare Krishnas now. That's what I thought. And I thought, this devotee, this boss got through to him somehow. So I mean, not proud, but the most grateful thing, I was most grateful for this quality of indifference that I had developed. Meaning, I didn't get excited. I thought, okay, fine, Krishna made something there. And I actually felt good about it. I felt peaceful. I didn't get agitated. Sometimes happiness can also make us off balance, and we are not peaceful if we are too happy. Now, if we don't see happiness and distress equally, like if I took his praise to be something great about me, it would ruin my peace. But it didn't. And I looked at myself and I said, wow, I've come a long way. Krishna has given me qualities of detachment. I don't seem to care anymore what he thinks. If he appreciates me, at least he'd appreciated, devotional life. That's what I thought. Great. And so I was very happy that Krishna definitely gives us detachment. It'll happen. If not today, tomorrow, we will forgive those people who are weird around us, and because it's their problem. So, okay. Somebody else like to read? Rasastali Mataji, are you able to read a little bit? Just this page.
Okay. Dhruva spotted his younger brother, Uttama, who was peering out from behind his mother's sari. As soon as their eyes met, Uttama gave up his retinence and flung himself into his elder brother's arms. They both laughed and cried as they hugged each other tightly. Suniti leaned over to Suruchi and said, "See how happy they are to be reunited? They have both got goose pimples." They leaned over and drew Dhruva into her arms. "My son, you are dearer to me than my very life. Reunited with you, I have forgotten all my grief. I have become the most fortunate woman, for I am the mother of a great hero." She embraced Dhruva tightly. Milk began flowing spontaneously from her breasts, and mixing with her tears bathed Dhruva's entire body.
This is the truth, no? She has become the mother of a great hero. Please continue.
The other women remarked, "Covered by his mother's breast milk and tears, it looks like the young prince is being washed in an Abhishek ceremony. This is very auspicious and surely an indication that in the near future he will be installed on his father's throne." The courtiers encircled mother and son. The senior lady in waiting said, "Dear Queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago. Now it is your great fortune that he has returned. It is certain that your son will protect you for many years and put an end to your material miseries." Another of Suniti's intimate ladies in waiting said, "Dear Queen, all this time Dhruva has been missing. You must have worshipped Lord Vishnu very sincerely. No small child can survive alone in the forest for so long. Only because you constantly prayed to Vishnu for the prince's safety, he has returned safe and sound." Another lady said, "Yes, those who constantly worship the Lord can conquer death, which is otherwise impossible to overcome." Uttanpad beamed with pleasure hearing Dhruva praised. He arranged for Dhruva and Uttama to be seated on the back of a she-elephant, and the royal procession returned to the city. All the citizens crowded the streets. As Dhruva passed by, they spoke excitedly praising the young prince's exploits and achievements. Uttanpad had arranged for the entire city to be decorated in Dhruva's honor. Banana trunks with buds and flowers interspersed with betel nuts, trees lined all the roads, which had arches and draped with sharks. All the doors and gates were draped with mango leaves, colored flags, and strings of pearls, and next to them were water pots and lamps. In the city center were many beautiful palaces, arcs, and boundary walls, which had been decorated with golden ornaments. The palace domes glittered in the sun, while gods hovered in golden airplanes above the city, bestowing blessing on Dhruva. The city squares, highways, lanes, markets, parks, and watchtowers had been cleansed, sprinkled with sandalwood water, and scattered with uncooked rice, fruits, flowers, and barley grains. The ladies sang welcoming songs, offered blessings, and showered Dhruva with auspicious articles as he rode along the highway and entered the palace.
Okay, we can pause there for today, or should we? Yeah, we'll pause there for today and continue tomorrow. Okay, any other realizations or questions or? I feel like the celebration came so quickly. And behind that celebration, sometimes we see, right? We see people rising to fame or giving an amazing class or something. We only see that part, but we don't see all the effort and the sweat and the difficult times and hours and austerity that they went through behind that success. So now people are watching Dhruva. We watched Dhruva Maharaj in the forest, right? Looking at the monkeys. He ate some berries once in 6 days, and then it became once in a few weeks, and then it became once in a month, then it became once in 3 months. All those austerities Dhruva did, all with all that determination. So this should remind us about at the end in Sattva-guna, initially there'll be difficulty. We have to control our anger, we have to control our character defects, but then we keep doing service, then at the end there will be celebration. But if we can't control our senses and we lose it in passion, then in the end, no celebration, only suffering. So let us remind ourselves that, like Dhruva Maharaj, we should do some austerity to please Krishna. Wake up a little earlier, sleep a little less, chant a little more with focus, with concentration. Nobody is asking us to go to the forest and eat berries and live on it. We can eat whatever you want. But all that we really need for our soul to be nourished is good chanting, taking shelter of the Lord. That's surrender. That's all we are expected to do. That is our austerity, prescribed austerity. Good rounds, chanting good rounds. This little book by Mahatma Prabhu on the japa affirmations, it's so nice. It helps me so much. I love it because it brings my mind deeper into the purpose and not just chanting a ritualistic way. So we can end with reading a affirmation from that book. So you can all go and chant your rounds. It's downstairs. Sorry, no, it's not with me. Rasa Sali Mataji, do you have that book handy by any chance?
Yes, it's in my hand. Yes.
Can you please read? Can you please read any of your favorite one?
Yes. I happily and enthusiastically welcome the holy names every japa session. I easily chant my prescribed number of rounds with focus and attention. When I chant, I chant. I get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. I treat the Mahamantra as Radha and Krishna, fully present in sound. I receive and feel Krishna's presence, mercy, and love in his holy names. I chant in full awareness that the holy names is my greatest treasure. I chant to please Radha and Krishna, not to gain anything material. I am out of my mind and in my heart, fully present to the holy names when I chant. I fully honor my sacred relationship with the holy names during japa. I chant to be accepted by Krishna and to repair my broken relationship with him. I chant from my heart, feelingly praying to come closer to Krishna. I meditate on the meaning of the holy names as I chant. I turn off my world and turn on Krishna's world when I chant my rounds. I chant with no other motive than to render pure devotional service. My beads are my connection with Krishna and my ticket back to Godhead. I am totally dependent on Guru and Krishna to chant quality japa every day. I organize my life to make japa the most important activity of my day. I make excellent japa my standard and focus on continually improving. I relish chanting the holy name.
Hari Hari Bol. So let us all affirm this 3 times. I get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. Get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. I get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. And this part is so important. I organize my life to make japa my priority of the day, which means we keep all things out. We turn off our world, we turn on Krishna's world. This is all I want to do. Nothing else I would be doing at this point. Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Let Bhagavatam empower us to chant purely. Have a good rounds and see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.